Hey everybody, it's Lionel recording from my backyard. I just want to say that I know that the audio quality in these podcast episodes is pretty terrible. We're recording using phone or desktop audio, except for Marco, who of course has an actual microphone. Getting USB mics for podcasting is really hard in the middle of the pandemic. We've got stuff that's not going to ship until August, so bear with us, please. Forgive us our poor audio quality, and I promise you that we're doing everything we can to improve it and make ourselves easier to understand. Thanks a bunch. Hey everybody, welcome to Fishing Grits Podcast, episode 2 of Quarantine Content. My name is Lionel McNamara. I will be your MC and referee for the day, and I am joined by 4 panelists this time. Starting in the bottom in the middle, he's the only person in the city of Atlanta with a combo VCR TV because he just can't live without his Hey Arnold box set. He's Ryan! Oh, what was my one for Micah? I'm going to come back to you, Micah. In the middle right, with the professional microphone, he's the reason Kanye West wrote Jesus is King. It's Marco. Have you heard about how Kanye met Lil Pump and then he decided to do Jesus is King? He met Lil Pump and Lil Pump made him meet Jesus.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big
so
up to the kid.
I don't think it's coincidence.
In the middle on the left, he's never met a taco or an offensive lineman he didn't like. His name is Micah.
Actually, I do. I hate Richie Incognito, but that's a different story.
I got to work on these intros. And in the top left, he's the only stand-up comic who hasn't done something horrible to make me stop listening to him. It's our guest panelist today, Simon. Yeah, Dave Chappelle is out too. They're all out.
All of it. Well,
how we doing, guys?
Good. Wait. You're a stand-up?
yes, I am.
Oh yeah. I guess you're not gigging now, but where were you gigging?
All over Atlanta, really. Was doing it about 5 years, kind of on and off, but it had been 5 years since I was like, okay, I'm really gonna try it. And I did have a mic of my own, started to have an open mic of my own. It was on Wednesday nights. And it comes back when I say it does and not before.
Where's your open mic at? Wednesday nights, what time, what place?
It was at a place called Brew and Bird, North Decatur. It's just by Emory.
All right, cool. Follow Simon on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
At Simon Says Funny.
At Simon Says Funny. Simon also has an intermittent podcast called Inside Asperger's, which you can find.
Spoiler
alert. Which you can find on some major podcast platforms. Hit Simon up. A little bit of background for assuming that we have listeners. This isn't just an exercise of me Zoom calling with my friends for an hour.
The audience that you do have is not responsible for the audience that you don't. You take time.
Right.
Irregardless. Simon, Ryan, and I have known each other for 19 years.
Yeah.
So
shy of 20.
Yeah, there's going to be some inside jokes. So let's do that. All right. Today's episode is brought to you by sunscreen with physical SPF. Don't use that chemical junk. Use the physical stuff. It doesn't leach into your skin. Make sure you're wearing sunscreen. Okay. Even those of you who have a darker complexion, you need to wear sunscreen. That's today's sponsor. Physical SPF sunscreen. All right, you want to jump in? Do some sports?
Yeah, man. Let's talk about sports.
Sports.
Do some sports. Okay, well, in the absence of actual sports content, we're just going to continue to overanalyze things. I've got a list of questions here for our Atlanta Falcons. You will know they're from Atlanta because they have ATL all over all of their uniforms this year.
Home and away, for those who don't understand.
Right. If
To get
you
people
wear them,
Atlanta.
They wear them at the Dome or at the Benz. Excuse me. They wear them at the Benz to remind all of the from out of town Cowboys fans
This is ATL, babe.
where they're actually at. Like they have to wear it. You know, I don't know if you've ever been to a Steelers game at the Benzo, but you might as well be at Heinz Field. So it's good that they're wearing the city name.
So many
Otherwise,
terrible towels.
really, who's that XFL team? For the Atlanta Falcons, your first question is, who is the most overrated player on the Falcons roster who's not Matt Ryan? Micah.
We can just skip Micah. We all know his answer.
Roll it out.
You know, I really don't like Julio Jones. Who cares if you can jump high, run fast? Real football is about hitting people in the mouth. Let's start with Micah. Micah, who's your most overrated Falcons player?
I'm actually surprised y'all didn't guess this, but Ricardo Allen.
Oh, that was my next choice.
Yeah.
Defender.
One of the paid guys, and not totally convinced that KZ probably wouldn't be a better long-term option. So, I mean, that's my guy.
Is Casey on the roster?
Yeah.
KZ? Yeah.
Okay.
He's
Who is that cat?
Swiss Army knife is here.
Who is the cat that we had? Was he an Auburn safety?
Sheffield?
No.
Sheffield went to Ohio State.
No, yeah, Kendall Sheffield went to Ohio State. He had a
Safety from Auburn.
He had like a TH name. He came in when all of our safeties got hurt. And
only other one is Oliver back there, but
all right, whatever. Who cares? So Ricardo Allen.
Yep. Rico.
I mean, it's okay to be wrong, but
I mean, it's a
you want to
that Micah thrives in.
why is he so overrated to you?
Doesn't have great ball skills.
you said balls.
Not the best of tacklers, not most physical, not necessarily the most best cover guy, especially man. But you know, it is what it is.
I want to see these numbers.
He's smart. He's a leader, and they love him. But
You just don't like that man. You tired of seeing his face.
You know what, Micah? We don't allow ad hominem attacks here at the Fish and Grits podcast. You're going in timeout. I had to kick somebody out, and I wanted to get it out of the way today. All right. While Micah's reconnecting, I'm sorry, dude. I just had to kick somebody out today, and I wanted to get it out of the way.
Hold on, timeout. Let me. So KZ, his better long-term solution, 14% missed tackle rate. Ricardo Allen, 8%.
not the tackler. Yeah, Casey's not a better tackler, but
what else you want?
he's a better cover safety.
Oh yeah,
In our
for
system,
sure.
we need safety to tackle.
Right.
I don't
Anyway,
know.
sorry.
I respect
Go ahead,
your
Lionel.
request. Who's the next? Who got the next one?
You do, Marco.
I do. Okay, so I approached overrated in a Marco kind of way. So there's two parts to this.
He doesn't sing well enough.
No, so my most overrated player
Anyway,
is
here's
Julio
one.
Jones, simply because he is the Falcons, and everybody rates him, and that's all people talk about. But I mean, there's another answer down there that will make up for that. But the overrated one, in terms of like how the word, you know, how people usually perceive it, is Tebow, just because he had a down season, and he, you know, I need to see more from him. He looked uninspired last season. I don't know if he was hurt, but yeah, that's mine for that one.
Julio, man.
I'm saying he's literally the most overrated player because he's literally the only player people think about when they think the Falcons.
This franchise was known for Deion Sanders for years, and he didn't even play for the team for most of that time.
But overrated.
Everyone's like, oh, man, y'all remember Prime? Like, he was there for a contract, dude. Like, he was there for a cup of coffee, and then he was on his way out the door. Like,
He was our best player for the longest
right,
time.
that's what I'm saying. Like, every franchise has got that one player.
Yeah.
Julio, okay, so
He prefaced it with this is a Marco answer.
I know,
Okay.
but I'm gonna. this is what we call hashtag content, right? It's people who
Yeah, that's
yelling at each
that's
other
the one.
about sports
This
and
is
TV.
Julio's the most overrated player. That's the tag.
I just want to get really mad at you for a second because
I knew it would make this kind of a.
every team's got like that one guy, right? Like, except the Patriots now. So like, who are the Panthers known for?
Well, they all retired or left the team.
Right, but Cam, right? Like last
Right.
season, it was Cam.
Cam and Kuechly.
Kuechly, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Was Cam the best quarterback in the league?
Nope.
Never, not even his MVP season, but
No. But is Julio Jones the best wide receiver in the entire NFL?
by
Hands
far.
down.
Okay. Let's go to what's another good one? Chicago. Who's Chicago known for?
Smoking Jay Cutler.
No, for making mistakes like getting Mitch Trubisky.
Well, now they've got Big Dick Nick, but like
Khalil Mack.
like if you've got the face of the franchise, right? Like how could you who else could you're gonna have a face of the franchise? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who else are you gonna pick besides literally the best player at his position the past few years in the entire NFL?
I swear I'll make up for it on one of these other
Oh,
questions.
you better, because I am. We don't talk about number 11 that way in this house, right?
I'm buying my jersey after.
You will
this.
speak nice of Julio, of Quantavius.
All right, right. That man. Simon, hit us up, dude.
Okay, I had a look at the Falcons roster. I don't know. I don't remember a whole lot of these folks just because I hadn't been watching a whole lot of the games. Like I watched just enough to keep folks entertained when they want to talk
So
about it.
his answer is the roster.
I watched the Ravens for 14 weeks last year, so we're good. Like
He's like, oh, the Falcons are overrated? Where?
Wait a minute,
No
okay.
one rates the Falcons.
Let's hear it, Simon.
Who do we have? We don't have Vic Beasley anymore. Do we have anybody else where they say, oh, they might put it together? Like
Zach
it's not
McKinley.
part of your job to do that?
Tack McKinley.
All right, let's go with that.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna
I
go
like
with
it.
$1 because I feel like $1's got a good one.
Right?
Yeah, this one hurts. It took me a while to think of it, and I tossed him around. But I'm gonna go with Tebow, only because he's become one-dimensional. And the Eagles really showed where his weakness was in that playoff game 2 years ago. If you run right at Tebow, because he's on the smaller side, about 215, 220 on a good day, you can really take him out of the game. He's the best pass, probably the first or second best pass coverage middle linebacker in the game. But when it comes to run defense, he's hurting. He can get washed out of there real quick, especially if you run right at him. So,
You think that's a coaching issue?
no, I think that's 100% that he's 20 to 30 pounds lighter than most of your average middle linebackers.
Do you care if he's a liability in run coverage if he intercepts Drew Brees twice a year?
No, I mean, I'll take him for what he is now, even if he never becomes better at run defense, because the way we draft, we get those bigger Sam backers like Devondre Campbell, like now Michael Walker, who's going to make up for that. And we never had a true nose tackle to really protect him.
That's what I was about to say. You never had that big Molly Hall.
Well, you had Dontari Poe, but he
We saw how that went.
right.
We had Hagman.
Yeah,
Jeed!
he still technically we still do, don't we?
No.
Oh yeah, he's off the. It was a 1-year deal. You're right.
Yeah, we cut him last year.
Where did Devondre go?
He's a Cardinal.
Oh, that's
Falcons East.
After he jumped on Twitter to reassure us that he's not going anywhere. As soon as he
We
didn't get the money
don't
he wanted
control
from
that.
us. Well, we sent an offer his way. He just didn't like the numbers. And
Yeah.
Bird team to bird team, who cares?
he went to the
Redbird.
Atlanta West.
Yeah. All right, mine, Jake Matthews.
I like it.
That man is getting paid. He had a primo draft position. Now, is he an upgrade over like Lamar Holmes?
Sam Baker.
Well, he has a lot of the same problems that Sam Baker does. Namely, he has T-Rex arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Sam Baker got hurt every year except
Every year.
It's like
Yeah,
Matthews
contract.
only
I'm
missed like
healthy,
one.
healthy as ever.
Listen, all I'm saying is that if you've got $100 million quarterback, that left tackle better be like in your top 5 of players on the team, or
And he's
you're
falling down that
or
list.
you're running Bruce Arians' offense.
He's top 5 in contracts.
That's why I'm saying he's overrated. You know what I mean? Like,
I think he was okay in pass protection, but
Every quarterback starts one-upping each other with contracts. The sort of linemen who start coming out. Yeah.
I mean,
He only allowed eight sacks. He was top 5 in pressures allowed too.
yeah, I mean, he's not terrible,
He's
but
not
when
gonna
he does get
maul
beat,
anybody.
it just looks horrible. Like when we played the Vikings and he got beat a couple times, it was just like, oh God.
look, man, for
He usually has the 2 or 3 games good every year.
as much money as we're giving Jake Matthews, like I shouldn't see him lining up across from Khalil Mack and go, well, we're fucked. I should go, we're probably fucked. Right? Because, I mean, it's Khalil Mack, but you get what I'm saying? Like,
Well, fortunately for us, he lines up on the right tackle most of the time.
just,
Caleb and Gary, R.I.P.
Yeah.
I hate you guys. All right. Most underrated player on the Falcons roster, dollar.
All right, so I've yet to decide, and I'm going to go against one of y'all on this. I'm tossing between Ricardo Allen and Jake Matthews. And just because I have the numbers here in front of me, I'll go with Jake Matthews.
The worst.
Because he graded out in 2018 as the 5th best pass blocker amongst all linemen, not just tackles. 2019, he was the 4th best pass blocker amongst all linemen. He's not the best run blocker, and that's not who you're going to get out of a 310-pound tackle. And he's not supposed to be. Falcons historically run right. If you think back to the days of Harvey
Break it
Dahl.
up.
Oh. What'd you get?
Harvey Dahl,
like
we
we go back
run
10
to the
seconds.
right, or we run right up the middle.
Yeah, the Falcons run right. We don't run left. We never run left. We always like to run right. So that's not what you draft left tackles for in this offense.
Do you think that maybe having a better offense would make Jake Matthews' run blocking more important?
I mean, he's not a bad run blocker. He's not a great one, but he's not a bad one. I think
To increase
giving him an adequate left guard, like when he had Chris Chester, will seam that all up. Because I recall at least 2 or 3 games last year where whoever we were plugging in at left guard was getting beat and he was having to help. And it then made him look worse because, you can give up interior pressure and maybe survive. But if you give up that edge pressure, it looks a lot worse.
left guard?
At one point, but, after he started to break down.
And then Chris Chester, but I thought Chris Chester the right guard, and then Levitre was the left guard, right?
I think you might be right, yeah. I think actually Chester was a right guard, yeah. So Levitre, there you go. Levitre's a very good pass blocker.
Until his legs just started to
Bicep. Wasn't his bicep just exploded?
Yeah.
Ruptured? Yeah.
And then he had the leg injury, like the ankle injury the next year or something like that.
I finally got rid of him.
Micah, who's your most underrated Falcon?
Ooh.
Julio Jones, because he really should be the face of the NFL.
I'm gonna say Tebow. Even though I know he's not great at the run, stuff in the run, I think partially it's because he doesn't have that big monster nose tackle in front of him to protect him at all. But he's solid. He's a solid tackler, one of the best cover guys. And when people talk about the top middle linebackers in the league, very rarely do people ever mention Tebow. But I mean, like I said, it's just
Different bit.
well, when they talk about coverage, yes, but they always point to, he's not a great run defender. But like I said, he doesn't have the protection that like when Telvin Smith was in Jacksonville. Telvin Smith had the same problem. He was undersized. He had problems. He could get eaten up by linemen, but he had such big defensive linemen in front of him. the offensive lineman never got to him. So he was able to flow freely and just make tackles everywhere. I think if we got I think Tyler Davison could potentially help that, but I mean, we'll see.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Marco.
For my most underrated player, I went with Matt Ryan. Just because having a great quarterback is taken for granted only in Atlanta. Nowhere else.
No. Everybody
flagrantly.
hates quarterbacks.
No, because there's not a lot of good quarterbacks. Let's be honest.
There are plenty good quarterbacks. There are plenty of teams who are making the playoffs.
Mike, I knew you would jump out the screen on this one.
Micah, there are plenty of teams making the playoffs because they have to. Because someone has to win the division.
Josh Allen made the playoffs last year and did not have spectacular numbers at quarterback.
Who else on a team with
our super $30 million?
Wait. Hold on, man.
Didn't lead us to anything better than 7-9.
Bojack me. Okay, I'm just saying. So Matt Ryan, I think he's consistently good. Obviously, he needs to cut those picks down. But I think that, Matt Ryan has consistently been top 2 players on our team for as long as we can remember. So, and I think that we win a lot. We go to the playoffs often. And he should be regarded as one of the best quarterbacks. So
we haven't been to the playoffs since his contract kicked in.
Okay, okay, Mike. We should have. That's when the segment should come in. And Micah takes the screen over and starts talking about quarterback contracts.
Who's the best quarterback in the NFC South?
Matt Ryan.
Breeze
still.
Captain Checkdown. Remember when Drew Brees went 7-9 for 3 seasons in a row?
Yeah.
I do.
But they've made the playoffs the past few years. And
right, but he went 7-9
but it's his team.
in a row. How many Super
Because
Bowls?
his team got better.
Yeah, Drew Brees.
We have talent on this team too.
How many Super Bowls has Drew Brees been to?
1.
2 or 1?
1. One Super Bowl, right?
Sorry,
One.
1 for 1.
Y'all would know if the Saints went to 2 Super Bowls.
Did he win? Now, I'm going to ask this question, but I know the answer because I was at that game. A little flex. Did the Saints win that Super Bowl because of Drew Brees, or did they win because they had impeccable play calling and a ballsy head coach?
Both.
The second.
They won because of the ballsy
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you what he did for them in that Super Bowl. Now, you say Captain Checkdown, but they couldn't run the ball against the Colts. But the Colts were playing so deep that they just allowed him to just 5-7, 5-7, 5-7, all the way downfield and eat up the clock and keep Peyton Manning,
Drew Brees is
greatest quarterbacks of all time, off the field. Which it's like the Colts. It's like, dude, be aggressive. You got Peyton Manning. If they score, you can score right back. But no, we're going to play soft coverage because we don't want them to throw the ball deep against us because we don't want to give up a big play. Screw it. Let Peyton do his thing.
So Matt Ryan goes out.
He outthought himself in that game.
Matt Ryan goes out to a 28-3 lead against arguably one of the best defensive-minded coaches in the history of the NFL, and loses the game because of poor play calling and a tired defense in overtime. And you can't make excuses for him, but you can make excuses for Drew Brees throwing a 5-yard slant to Michael Thomas for 5,000 yards.
Hold on, Micah. Welcome to your corner. Let's see you get out of this one.
I'm loving the Drew Brees.
No. Let me explain something to you. That Super Bowl, now, while that was partially on Shanahan, smart quarterbacks don't take a sack right there. I don't care what you do. Throw the ball away, whatever.
Wait, the sack that happened in like a second and a half?
The sack happened in a second and a half when he did
second and a half. It wasn't a second and a half because what's his name had time to whiff completely. Well, he had time to put a move on him, and he did.
Wasn't that Devontae?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not Matt Ryan.
But like I said, I'm not putting the Super Bowl all on him. But now, granted, offense. If from what I've heard, that whole thing, Matt Ryan's yelling, "Run the ball, run the ball." Call an audible. What's Shanahan going to do? Bench you at that point in the game? What's he going to do? Take you out? Call an audible. But no, I have to follow the rules. Coach said I need to run this.
What does that have to do with him being a quarterback?
This is the game. This is the Super Bowl, the game of the year, biggest game of the year. The one time when you need to use your gut, you need to pull an Aaron Rodgers right there and just say, hey, we're running the ball. I don't care what coach says.
We saw how that works for Aaron Rodgers, right? He's about to get replaced from some dude from Utah.
He got a ring too, though.
Okay, by the way, snap happened at 8:31, really 8:30. He was on the ground at 8:29.
Don't worry. We're going to go back to this in a couple seconds.
Run the dang ball. Run the dang ball. And in the words of Sandra Bullock, run.
Simon.
Yeah.
Who's your most underrated player on the Falcons roster?
I want to say Grady Jarrett.
Grady Jarrett is a monster.
Never hear about him taking plays off. Always taking on two guys, rushes the passer. Like,
Grady Jarrett.
I'll go with him.
Made his first ever Pro Bowl last year.
Getting his name called at the draft by his dad.
Oh, I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, he's like, Grady Jarrett is, he might be, if Julio Jones wasn't on this team, he would be my favorite player. But if you don't root for Julio Jones. All right, mine is also Matthew Ryan, number 2, the quarterback. And I will tell you why. I grew up in Chicago, okay? When was the last time Chicago had a great quarterback?
No.
Are we forgetting Rex Grossman?
Sexy Rexy, I love Sexy Rexy, but only because I only call 4 verticals too. But let's be serious here, okay? Like, the NFC South is a fucking meat grinder, right? You've got MVP quarterback, Jameis Winston for the last few years, right? There are no easy games. The Panthers, when the Panthers were 15-0, or no, 15-0. It was we were their last game of the season.
Yes,
they come into the Dome. The Falcons were 7-9 that year, and we gave them their first loss in a season where they go to the Super Bowl and lose to one of the greatest defenses of all time, and Cam wins the MVP, and we beat them.
We did.
You can't. This division is the worst, and it's only going to get worse now that we have Mr. Thomas Brady. God, you know. And the problem is that Matt Ryan is a top 10 quarterback almost all time if you're tracking stats. He is a top 10 quarterback all time if you're looking at win percentage. Took us to the playoffs his rookie year, right? This man has had how many head coaches? Well, 2 head coaches, but it feels like way more than that because Mike Smith should have been fired 3 times. How many offensive coordinators? You know, his cast changes all the time. You know, he's constantly dealing with Dirk Cutter calling plays. You know, he like broke his shoulder in the NFC Championship game and then still almost went to the Super Bowl that we would have won against the Ravens. You know, like, and people are still like, oh, I wish we had Mike Vick back. We didn't have back-to-back winning seasons until Matt Ryan was a quarterback. And then Michael Vick went to prison.
Am I the only one who remembers?
Matt Ryan, I'm on my soapbox, Simon. Matt Ryan has a noodle arm, okay? I agree.
I agree, too.
He needs to work on that downfield stuff or they need to change the offense. Matt Ryan is a quarterback that has no identity because he plays in his system so well, right? It takes him a season to adapt, but then he is that system's quarterback. Agreed, right? Does he have to work on these picks? Of course, but I throw picks like it's my job to middle linebacker from that. You know what I'm saying? But we have experienced an unprecedented level of success in this division. When was the last time we had a number 1 overall pick?
Like Vic? Well, then we traded for that. But
No, you're right. It's Vic.
And
And Matt Ryan might not say, "Hey, Kyle Shanahan, shove it up your butt, coach. I'm going to run the ball with Devontae Freeman, who can't pass block." But Matt Ryan also didn't go to prison, so I'm going Matt Ryan.
That's fine.
And Micah's wrong.
All right, whatever.
Not enough fans remember the fans chanting for Joey fucking Harrington to go into the game.
Oh, I trust me. I remember.
Man, we got drafted that guy. Jake Fromm out of Georgia, man. He's a real quarterback, man. He's tall. He's white. He knows how to hand the ball off. He's a real quarterback.
He's honestly Matt Ryan 2.0.
What we need
Jake Fromm wishes he was
What?
Matt Ryan.
Are you serious, Micah? That was flagrant. Are you
Take
serious?
for Trevor. That's
Matt
what
Ryan was a G in college, man. What are you talking about?
Matt Ryan 2.0, a.k.a.
Jake Fromm couldn't even.
Man, and whoever drafted him got really lucky in the 5th round.
All right, the best player on the Falcons. Does anybody think that the best player on the Falcons is not Julio Jones? Raise your hand.
Okay, moving on.
I had a nod for Grady Jarrett though. I did.
I was gonna kick you all the way out. Like you were gonna have to leave your house.
It was a Julio 1A, Grady 1B.
Who could surprise? I'm gonna go first with this one, and I'm going to go to.
You missed the key new addition.
Oh well, we'll circle back. I'm gonna go to the wide receiver position and say Calvin Ridley. I think Calvin Ridley is gonna go uggity off this season. Julio gets all the attention. We really need that like 1A receiver. You know, Mo Sanu couldn't do it. He wasn't that speed guy. You know what I mean? Ridley's got hands. He runs good routes. He's going to be – I think Calvin's going to have a really nice year, hopefully. Simon.
Just a little prediction, just based on how Falcons DBs seem to come out of nowhere.
Matt Ryan.
For a little bit, Kendall Sheffield.
Good pick.
That's a good pick. Marco, who could surprise you?
Okay, wait. Did we skip a question? Okay, so
Yeah,
my
we did.
bad. I wrote that wrong. Okay, I think Todd Gurley might surprise some people because I feel like the consensus is that he's sort of washed, but he's never played with a good quarterback, and that's huge for a running back. You know, and like you said about Matt Ryan, second year in the system, so many weapons, and then I think it'll just be open for him to eat, and I think he'll surprise some people and have close to like MVP numbers.
Would you, if Todd Gurley looks like vintage Todd Gurley, do you pay him or do you let him leave?
It depends how close we get.
Season. If he looks like vintage Todd Gurley, do you pay him or do you let him walk?
It depends how much we win.
I don't know if we can.
Caller, you're muted.
Purposely.
Oh. I let the dude walk. His knees are falling off.
Running backs. We learned that lesson with Devontae.
Mm-hmm.
Running backs
You
are
can't pay running backs.
the most interchangeable out of all the positions.
Yeah.
There's 4 or 5 every draft class.
So if Gurley goes off and like wins the MVP,
And
that's
the windows
great. That's fantastic. He can go.
Unless
You can go wherever you want.
He
You
gives
can go to the
us
Jets.
a hometown discount. But
Would you take a hometown discount?
no.
No.
At the running back position, no.
No.
Yeah, you go where you're needed.
Micah, who's going to surprise you this season?
Mine isn't going to be popular pick, but
That's a
Ooh, I know who it is.
I got to say Isaiah Oliver.
Oh, I did not know.
It's as poorly as he played last year, I think Raheem Morris going back to coaching the DBs is going to clean up a lot of his technique issues. He's 6 foot 6'1", long arms. He has the tools to be good, but I just think he's been miscoached the past few years, and I think Raheem Morris will fix a lot of those problems, and he'll be what we thought Jalen Collins was gonna be, essentially.
I think Jalen Collins was in the XFL or the AAF for a little bit.
Yeah, he was.
He was in the XFL because he got toasted for a touchdown on like the opening night.
Hot take follow-up from Micah. Oliver has the tools to be the next Sherman. Who doesn't mean he's going to be. He has the same build as him.
I agree that it doesn't mean he's going to be, but like I said, I think just from the second half of the season, from first half to second half, when Raheem Morris went back to the DB's coach, he looked a whole lot better. I mean, it was just like he just looked completely lost the first half of the season. Second half, it was like, all right, at least in the vicinity. He's making plays on balls at least now.
Bobo?
I'm going to go Matt Hennessy. I think he's going to really surprise a lot of people coming in. There's no way he doesn't win that left guard position over those two mountains.
Jamon Brown's not going to beat him out? What?
Von Brown can't beat him. Never mind. I mean, keep this PG. Yeah, I think Matt Hennessy is really going to fix that left side of that line. He's a monster, and he's the future at center. Even if he doesn't start left guard, he gets a year to learn behind the best run blocking center in the game. So
I like it. Key new addition, Mako.
All right, so I have to apologize. I sort of messed up that last pick because I wrote this wrong. So my key new addition was actually Todd Gurley, and my good surprise was Caleb McGarry because I think that, a lot of people talked real bad about him because he was rated the worst in the league for sacks allowed. But I think that he played a lot better in the second half. So everything I said for Todd Gurley this term, but y'all can remember Caleb McGarry's name now.
That was me. I skipped the question.
Okay.
Simon, who's your key new addition, man?
Marlon Davidson. I'm saying this just going off that press conference he said when they asked him why he left football. He was talking about how much he loved to pummel folks without anybody calling the cops.
I hit people.
Gotta love that.
Dollar, who's your key new addition?
I'm gonna go Gurley on this one. He can really change the defense. He can give us an actual run game to give the defense a break and slow games down.
What about the fact that Dirk Cutter is the worst offensive coordinator?
He kind of fits what Cutter likes, though. So I feel like his skill is going to overcome Cutter's ineptitude.
I feel like Kyle Shanahan's play calls. I'm going to digress for just a second, but Shanahan's
Don't call it play calling. It was art.
But it was so intricate. Like watching his plays, or like the way that the linemen move. Like he thinks about like the whole football package. Cutter literally says, "Run it up the middle."
Yeah.
What's our blocking scheme?
Very primitive. Like
block the defensive line.
No
That's
movement. Just everything is focused on what he wants to have happen.
Yeah. No movement. Nothing.
On the brighter side, Gurley can catch screens too. So, Cutter really loves that.
Let's bring Devin Hester back. I mean, damn. Micah, who's your key new addition, my man?
Ooh, I'm torn between Fowler and Marlon Davidson. I want to say Fowler though, because even though I think Davidson is going to be huge as far as the interior pressure, I think that's one of the biggest things we've been missing. I think Fowler will be consistent edge pressure, what we couldn't get from Vic Beasley, because he just some games he'd show up, some games he's just like in a whole completely different world. So, and like Ryan posted that stat about the more reps he's gotten, the better his numbers have gotten. So I gotta go with what's his name on that one?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm on Dante Fowler too. I think having a real legit experienced pass rusher maybe got a little bit of something to prove. At least until we signed Jadeveon.
Right.
Oh, that ain't happening.
Like his head would explode.
All right, I'm gonna skip takes a leap, and I'm gonna go to prove it year because we're
lightning round on that one.
What?
You want a lightning round that one?
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Yeah. Let's do prove it year real quick. Couple of words. Prove it year. Simon, prove it year.
Let's see. Obvious choices, Gurley. I would say one of the tight ends, Graham or Hurst. They get a chance for more playing time with Hooper out. Hooper gone.
Hurst. Micah, give me your prove it.
Tack McKinley. We already declined his fifth-year option. So if he wants to remain a Falcon, he better do something more than 3.5 sacks this season.
Oh, he gone.
Yep.
Marco?
Yeah, mine is also Tack McKinley. But I just said it's unfortunate that he's going to be proving it for another team Not ours.
Probably the Cardinals.
Probably.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Or he'll go to New England and win four in a row.
Yeah, they can always use players better than we can and anyone else. So.
Right. Just literally anyone. Bobo, except Ocho Cinco.
Kiki, he's got to stay healthy.
Kiki.
Yeah.
Mine's going to be the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep into the playoffs or get the hell out. Because this roster, like I said last week when we did this roster could go 10-6 with Ask Madden calling plays. Legit. You could make an AI that just said, run this play into people's headsets. You just use Kyle Shanahan's 49ers playbook. You know what I mean? And we could go 10-6. Like,
I don't remember watching a team where the weak links were the coordinators. This was a couple years ago, I think.
the last time this happened was the last time Dirk Cutter was our offensive coordinator.
That's what happened.
Dark.
Mike Smith.
Dirk Cutter is going to get Dan Quinn fired, and then he's going to go be an offensive coordinator somewhere else. And then he's going to be the head coach there, and then he's going to get fired. And he's going to come back to Atlanta and get the next head coach fired. It's sort of like Ryan Fitzpatrick, you know what I mean? Like Fitzpatrick goes somewhere, he's like, I'm just going to be a backup. And then he takes that person's job, and then the next year they give him a bunch of money and he underperforms.
The cycle of Fitz is amazing.
All right. Before we hit the break, we're going to do my favorite segment on the show that we're going to do. It's called Tebow Time. It's about literally the best dude to play quarterback in the NFL. I just want to bring up that Tim Tebow got screwed by John Fox. Oh,
John Elway.
I was shot at.
John Elway more than anybody.
No. I'm going to say John Fox because John Fox was like, oh, yeah, we can totally run a spread offense. And then they didn't. Like, they said they were going to, but they ran an option, not a spread. Right? Timmy won a playoff game.
Yeah.
Timmy won more playoff games.
Quarterback they ever drafted that won a playoff game.
Yeah, he won more. Like, when they took Paxton Lynch in the first round.
Oh,
Yeah, I forgot about him. God.
How many playoff wins does Paxton Lynch have?
How many games did he play? Like one?
They took Brock Osweiler.
I know Tebow could have won the Super Bowl Peyton won, though. I will say that.
I could have won the Super Bowl Peyton.
That defense was so disgusting.
You didn't need an offense, especially when Cam's not diving for the fumble. So Tim Tebow is just the best. Well, as you know, Tim Tebow is trying his hand at my favorite sport, which is the American pastime of baseball. And I found this stat that I thought was interesting. Tim Tebow's last season in AA, okay? So if you don't know, Timmy plays for the Mets organization. He has for the past few years. He was called up to AAA
2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was going to go up to AAA, and then the season had to get aborted because of Corona, which pisses me off because Timmy was going to come to the Stripers. I was going to get to see Tebow Time.
He was going to be on our schedule.
Yeah. Anyway, so Timmy's year last year in AA, 2018, he was 30 years old. He played 84 games, and he had a batting average of 273 with 6 home runs and 36 RBI.
Solid.
Michael Jordan, his season playing for AA in 1994, he was 31. He had 436 at-bats. He had a batting average of 202, 3 home runs, and 51 RBI.
Different balance.
Not terrible with the RBIs, but
Right, that's pretty solid RBI numbers.
But he was also one of the worst ranked in the outfield. No, he was the worst ranked in the outfield. I just read today.
Now, that was Michael Jordan's first and only season playing baseball. This was Timmy's third season playing baseball. His batting average before the season was aborted was 189. Is
Not too
Michael
hot.
Jordan better at baseball than Tim Tebow? And could Michael
Yes.
Jordan be better at football than Tim Tebow?
Yes.
No.
I'm going to
Yes
say
and yes.
yes. I'm going to say Michael Jordan at 30 years old could start at quarterback for the Chicago Bears?
Well, that's not saying much, though.
Hey, it's true though.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back from the break, we're going to talk about the best front office in Atlanta sports. We're going to set the rules for our NBA draft for our bench league. We're talking about shitty superpowers, lightning round, and then some Atlanta restaurant talk. Be back in a minute. Welcome back to the Fish and Grits podcast, part two, everything else. Episode 2, part 2. Let's get into it. Your pick for the best front office in Atlanta sports. I'm going to go first. So the reason we have Simon on this podcast today is because the last time we tried to do this podcast, before we even knew that Marco existed, Simon was part of it. We were over at Dollar's house. We went on forever. No idea what we were doing. I still don't know what we're doing. But we asked this same question. It was 2017, I believe.
Yeah, circa 2017.
Yep. And we asked this question. We said, who's the best front office in Atlanta sports? And I said Atlanta United. And then I made a bold claim, which was that Atlanta United was going to win a championship before any of the other professional sports in Atlanta did. And I want everyone in this Zoom call to say that I was right, because I was.
You were right.
You were.
Thankfully.
Hold it.
I'll gladly admit that you were right, just because that was a fun year.
They are far and away the most competent front office in this city. They are constantly working within the stringent, terrible salary cap of MLS. Making moves, making things work, juggling. You know, they play a ton of games, but they also play in 3 different competitions. You know, like you're not just playing one season. No, 1, 2, 3. Open Cup, CONCACAF Champions League, and the MLS. Last year, we won 2 trophies.
Mm-hmm.
So United have won 3 trophies in 2 years. Get out of here. That's a hell of a front office, man.
In what, our 4th year of existence?
3rd, 17 was our first season.
Okay, yeah.
4th. This year, that has been aborted.
This is
the 4th season. Yeah. And I think that coronavirus happened because Joseph Martinez tore his ACL.
Seems that way.
They really didn't want me to have to. But did you see they were interviewing him? They were like, "Hey, Joseph, who's your favorite opponent to play?" He's like, "Orlando."
Orlando. I knew it.
In Orlando. I was like,
Cold-blooded.
"Oh man, that man's a killer. He's ruthless."
I love Joseph, man. Love Joseph.
Who's your best front office and why? Marco, lead us off, man, because I know you did research.
Yeah, I got to go with Atlanta United as well. You know, for the same reasons you said, and I just, you know, it's so difficult the way that no one prioritizes the MLS, so people are leaving and all these rules, and they still manage to brought us a chip, and that is value, and I respect that more than anything else I've ever seen in this city. So,
well, and they brought in Tata Martino, who used the Atlanta United job to get the Mexican national team job, right? Like he's coaching for Mexico. You know, like Miguel
That's
Almiron.
a huge jump.
Miguel Almiron went from Paraguay to Atlanta to the Premier League.
yeah.
How's he doing, by the way?
That is team building.
He's doing great this season. Like he's really picking it. The Premier League is hard, dude. Like you want to talk about going from like Division II college football to the NFL. Like they're physical, they're fast. It is the best league. And Miggy went straight there without going to Spain, without going to Germany. Atlanta is like our reputation as a city on the world sports stage is so elevated because of this team. And also they have the best uniforms of any team in the state. So
True that.
get out of here. Simon, best front office in Atlanta.
I can't even argue with that. Can't even argue with that.
All right, Micah.
All right. I think you guys are right, but I'm going to spin the question a little bit.
Oh,
So I think the United are definitely the best front office from the time of existence, but the one who's kind of impressed me the most over the past few years is the Hawks, because we went from bonehead move after bonehead decision. In the past decade or so, we've gotten rid of several terrible contracts, and we flipped all of that into a lot of draft capital where we gotten a lot of extremely talented young players like Trae Young and John Collins. So I would have to say now United's the best, but the one who's like made the best improvement over the past decade or so is probably the Hawks, in my opinion.
Dollar.
Okay. Because I knew all of you were either going to say the Braves or United. That's the obvious answer, being United. I think what I'm doing here is making an argument that this is not the worst front office. And they're actually pretty good. They catch a lot of grief. Now, all sports we draft, we do these things. And what would you define as like a good draft pick? Someone who plays a significant amount of time, makes contributions, stays on the team for a while, right?
Yep.
Lionel?
You're spending way too much time selling this ahead of time. Give it to me.
Okay, so the duo of Dan Quinn and Thomas Dimitroff are far better than you think. Now, if I were to pair you or any of you with Mike Smith, you would all do a terrible job, especially when you put Cutter in the same room as Mike Smith. Thomas Dimitroff's job is to draft players that fit that system, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he started off rough. He came from the Patriots. He was supposed to be the wonder boy. He was supposed to come over. He was the good-looking young guy, and he was going to fix the Falcons. So his first, call it 4 to 5 years, it was pretty bad. So in 2008, we had 11 draft picks. We hit on 5 of them. 2009, we had 8. We hit on 1 of them. 2010, 3 of 7. 2011, 3 of 6. And the best draft class of all time for the Falcons is 2012, where we went 0 for 6. And none of those players are even in the league anymore. 2013, we went 5 of 8. 2014, we went 4 for 9. Now that was the end of the Mike Smith era. Now here's where it really took a change. In 2015, we went 5 of 7. That's where we got Vic Beasley. He didn't live up to the hype, but he had a 16-sack season. He had 8 last year.
Another contract.
Yeah, he got another contract. He went to another team. He didn't stay on the market long. You have Tevin Coleman, Hardy, and Grady in that class. And you can also say Jalen Collins. He's a bonehead guy, but he started for us in the Super Bowl. 2016 is when we went 5 of 6. We got Kiki, Debo, Devondre Campbell, and Hooper. 2017, we got Tack, KZ, Brian Hill. This last guy,
it's too early to say for any of these guys for that draft.
I don't know. KZ's definitely proven that he's a solid pick, considering we got him in the 4th round as well. And he was a corner that we converted.
Yeah.
Out of San Diego State.
Right.
And then Duke Riley, we turned him into a draft pick. Yeah. So, we got something out of him. 2018, this is the class that I really like. Let me pull it up here. That's where you get Calvin Ridley, Isaiah Oliver, Deidre Sanat, Ito Smith, Russell Gage, and probably my favorite player on the roster, and Foye Oluokun. And then I rated that one a 5 out of 6 just because Deidre, even though
it's too early though. We got to see it. 2 years. We need at least.
Calvin Ridley had 10 touchdowns last year.
But you said people who stay on the roster, oh no, these draft picks are on the roster during their first contract.
No, impact as well. Impact is their game.
I'm gonna let you finish.
And then 2019. Right now, you can say 3 out of 6, just with your boy McGarry. They're both starting. Sheffield, and you could possibly add 2 more with Kaminsky and Quadri. Maybe. But I'm right now 3
Quadri's
out of
on
6.
the missing post.
That's why I said 3 out of 6. I'm not counting Quadri.
How many years has Thomas Dimitrov been the GM?
11. 11.
How many?
Oh, sorry. Let me sew this back up. He is a draft, or not a draft. He is a cap wizard.
Yes. Great. Which is why he's still.
Micah, shake your head at me and say we went into this offseason with $2 million free draft cap room. And what did we do? We signed Dante Fowler. We got Todd Gurley. We've changed the roster completely with big names.
Thomas Dimitrov is a plus capologist.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
How many division crowns do we have in the 11 years he's been the GM?
1.
4. And we went in 2012. We won it. Yeah, as a wild card that we went to the Super Bowl.
10,
I don't care about division crowns. I want playoffs.
And
Just how many?
10, 12, and 16.
Okay. How many times did the Braves win the division in a row?
Oh my god. No.
15.
14.
Oh my god.
14.
Yeah.
What did I preface this with, though?
No. But the question was who's the best, not who's the worst front office in Atlanta sports. If it's not the Falcons, who's the worst front office in Atlanta sports right now?
The Falcons.
And if you pull the WNBA into this,
One thing I'll say about the Braves.
I'm booting you out of this.
The Braves don't spend money, and that's annoying.
The Braves
That's not their fault, though.
The Braves have made the playoffs the last couple of years, and they have Ronald Acuna.
Well, they honestly got the biggest steals between Acuna and Albies for like 9 years for Albies. And 10 years.
You can't rate them bad for that.
No, the
That was a steal.
Braves went from having no farm system to having a top 3 farm system in 2 years.
And then they're going to plead poverty. They're not going to pay these guys. They're going to go right back where they started.
But they've got the difference is that they're not paying BJ Upton and Justin Upton huge contracts.
Upton brothers.
The thing is that like if they pick one player per generation to give the money to, right?
It'll be Dansby.
It'll be Acuna.
But they've already paid him.
Hey, Dansby?
So
Dansby's not going to make it very long if he can't get it together. But what I'm saying is that
220 is not going to cut it for much longer.
every single position on the field except for second base and wherever they put Acuna, wherever he's going to play, right? Because he can just slide all over that outfield. Every other position on that team, they have a plus prospect to come up. So like, if
now
you
here's where I turn it around to you.
okay,
So we know Atlanta United has won a championship. Out of the remaining 3 teams, who has played for a championship in the last 5-10 years?
Oh,
Like the league championship.
I mean the Birds, but of which Atlanta teams have played for a championship?
The Hawks made it to a conference championship.
3, I guess.
Hawks had a number 1 seed.
Which of those 3 teams lost both times they played for the championship?
Falcons.
I refuse the answer.
Wait. The Braves lost, what, 3 times?
Yeah,
we have
the
one.
We're talking about recently.
So the Falcons are the worst front office in Atlanta. They are by far because a huge part of that is not just the cap, right? So like we picked Matt Ryan at number 3, right?
Mhm.
You know how hard you got to fuck up at number 3?
Yeah.
You
There's
know,
a lot of teams out there.
if you're like, man,
the Bears.
if you're like, man, I want a quarterback, you know, and Matt Ryan's sitting there at 3, like.
You take Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, you take Mitch Trubisky over Deshaun Watson.
Look, all I'm saying is that.
And Pat Mahomes.
All I'm saying is that
But he didn't do it.
the front office has been around forever. and they're doing really good cap work, right? But they also rehired Dirk Cutter.
Yeah, that
Had Sark here for 2 years.
They had Sark here for 2 years. I don't care. Like, Matt LaFleur went and sat on a bench in Los Angeles.
from our coaching staff to sit on the bench.
They were like, you know what? We're going to try to keep some continuation here with our coaching staff. So instead of retaining some of Kyle Shanahan's coaching staff, a guy who's not even going to go to San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan, let's call in the guy who picked his nose during the national championship.
We're just going to keep the playbook. LaFleur, you can just go.
You know, we're going to keep it all the same. And by that, I mean, we're going to run football plays. All right.
Well, the Falcons
That's
are by
gracious.
far the worst.
God, I wish I had those like around the horn effects so I could send dog to the shadow zone for that anthem. I knew it was going to be bullshit as soon as you were like, all right, bear with me. So they might not be the best.
Here's how I'm qualifying this.
But they're definitely not the best. If you look at it based on the number of Thomases that are in the front office.
Who's the best at acquiring players named Matt?
Right. Well, our best years were when we had the highest number of Matts. I'm just saying.
True.
All right, let's talk about let's talk about our NBA bench draft. All right, so I had a project first. Dollar, will you pull up the Falcons 2020 schedule? Sorry, I forgot about this. This is gonna.
Okay, what you need?
Simon, welcome to the gauntlet. Dollar's going to tell you the Falcons' 2020 opponent, and you're going to guess win or loss. You're going to be on the record, and we're going to come back at the end of the season and talk about it. Currently, Micah is the most optimistic about the Falcons' 2020 season. He has them at 10-6. Marco's next at 11-5. Ryan has them at 9-7, and I have them at a paltry 7-9 because I am not a believer in this coaching staff. So, week 1 against the
Seahawks. Seahawks come to Atlanta.
Win or lose.
Off the top of your head.
You just got to go with your gut here, bud.
Win.
Week 2.
Chicago Bears come to town.
Win.
No, I'm sorry, misspoke. It goes left to right. Cowboys. We go visit the Cowboys.
We go visit the Cowboys. Is it a primetime game?
No, 1 o'clock.
Right. Win.
Week 3.
Now the Bears come to town.
Win.
4.
We go to Lambeau.
Lose.
That's a primetime game. Panthers come to town.
Win.
Oh, Teddy.
We go to the I don't know their new name. They're saying the Vikings.
We go to the Vikings. Lose.
Lions
7.
come to town.
Win.
8.
We go to the Panthers.
Win.
9.
The Broncos come to town.
Feels like a trap game, doesn't it?
Lose, yeah.
We go down to the other Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Lose.
John Gruden and his famous Spider 2 Y banana play come to town.
Listen here, man. Jake Fromm can really sling it, all right?
And
Calm down, Micah.
that Jake Fromm guy.
He's a game changer.
You know,
He's
if I
got
wouldn't,
moxie.
The Raiders come to town.
if I wouldn't have said the Broncos were a trap game, I would have said this one would have been.
This is a trap game.
Lose.
Next.
Saints come to town. On Thursday? No,
No.
not Thursday.
Oh, so if it's a Sunday afternoon game,
I think
Yes,
so.
1 p.m.
win.
Which will probably get flexed. When?
Win.
All right. Then we go all the way out to Los Angeles to play the Chargers.
That's basically a home game. But that
Yeah.
lose.
Okay. And then we go down Murderers Row. The Buccaneers come to town.
Right. Yes, I did see. Yeah, all the division games late. That is, you're right. The gauntlet. Buccaneers come to town. Win.
And then we go and get the biggest ass whipping of the season when we go visit the Chiefs.
We're going to the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Lose.
And then we go to the Buccaneers.
Lose.
Ooh, he's like, what, 6-10? 7-9?
That is 1, 2, 3,
Started hot.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 8.
8-9.
Really?
That sounds super realistic.
And Dan Quinn gets fired.
Yeah. I think the only people that keep Dan Quinn employed is Marco and Micah, unless 9-7 gets you into the playoffs this year.
I think 9-7 will get him fired.
They did change the format. So I think the extra wild card team, I want to say.
Yeah, so even if they make the playoffs, if they underperform, that starts this year. If they underperform, he's not going to keep his job.
Yeah. 9-7 is not going to really keep you around too much.
He almost lost his job last year.
That's what he gets for
He
hitching.
should have lost his job last year.
He should have been.
How many times he went? He lost 5 games in a row 3 times. What was it?
Something like that, yeah.
He should have been fired by week 4 last year.
Yeah.
Let Raheem Morris be the interim.
He should, or at least Raheem Morris should have been calling plays the whole way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what Dan goes through in the offseason where he just thinks, oh, yeah, I'm going to handle this. Like, I'm going to just change things.
Well, he thinks of things like kick-ass OTAs, which is our new OTAs this year.
That's what it is this year?
Yeah, they're
Someone needs to go stunning.
OTAs. Kick-ass OTAs.
Him and his catchphrases.
I know, man.
Brotherhood.
His Dan Quinnisms.
Are we all on the same page that, like, the reason we made it to the Super Bowl was because we had an incredibly talented defense that overachieved and Kyle Shanahan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason we lost it.
I will say Dan Quinn's play calling in the postseason was incredible on defense.
Yeah, because he took over, with like a week 13.
Who was that guy we had?
It
The
was
Broncos all
Week 12.
week 9 or 10.
Okay, he took
silently
over.
took
It was
over,
after
yeah.
the Philly game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we ate the Packers for lunch, and it was the best.
We blitzed. That was the thing. We actually blitzed.
Yeah, that's when Vic went crazy in that Denver game, but I feel like
Ryan Poole.
I don't know, they were just being aggressive.
Aaron Rodgers flop.
Yeah.
Miss that man.
That's why I'm excited, though, that we actually have some pieces in the line who are aggressive and some guys, who can go get it. And maybe, with Dan's system, because he's had a lot of nobodies out there for the past, no pressure. I mean,
I was glad they stepped up on both lines this year in the draft.
yeah.
Won't matter.
Yeah, last year, offensive line, this year, and then all, like you said, Hennessy. And then they went all defense, which I was happy with. So
Hennessy was a steal, man. That guy's so good.
You got to get a good play caller, though.
All right.
hopefully the second year thing will hold true in Matt.
I mean, he'll be better with the system, but it's still Dirk Cutter.
That's all we need, though. We just need him to – that's all we need to win.
So last week we talked about – we assembled your best starting 5 out of the available non-starters in the NBA, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to have a little bit of a talk about how we're going to run this draft. So the idea is that we will assemble a list of players from across the league, the association, if you will, that are currently not starters, all right? We're going to assemble all of them into a randomly decided division so that they all have to play each other, right? Probably in the East so that they can make the playoffs. And we'll probably do a little bit of a little bit of wizardry with how we split the starters up from these teams. You know what I mean? Just so that you don't end up with like the Warriors are also the Celtics. You know, that would be the worst. We'll actually probably put them all in the Suns.
That'd be okay.
Yeah, because
Wait. So are we gonna pick 4 different teams?
I'm going to assign you 4 different teams, or I'm going to assign
We could
you
do a
guys.
snake style draft.
Hmm?
We could do a snake style draft.
Snake style.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that way we don't have the same players.
I'm mad I don't get to rock with my team that I picked because I know it would slay all y'all's team.
Well, we're going to do the draft live. Like, we're going to have a spreadsheet. I'm going to have background music and a mustache.
I'm sure my guys will all be on the board.
A kick-ass mustache.
We shouldn't have shared our scouting reports.
Do you have 2K, Ryan?
I do.
Okay, so Ryan can do the sim and actual like roster
And
construction.
I'll live stream it on Twitch.
Live stream it on Twitch, and then we can sort of watch. Simon, do you want in on this? Do you know anything about basketball?
Yeah, yeah.
You want to be in?
Draft Dwight Howard. He's on the bench.
I was more
Atlanta's own.
someone like Kevin Porter Jr. Young.
He's not on the bench.
If I don't get Lou Williams, actually, I don't think I'm going to play. I got to be the commish. Sort of like when I played in my fantasy league as the
I mean,
commish.
hell, the association owned the Clippers for a while.
They did. They blocked the CP3 to the
Lakers.
Lakers.
All right, snake style draft. Any other rules that you guys want to think about? How long do we want to have on the clock?
How are we gonna see the players? How are we gonna see it?
I'll
I
screen
can
share.
do it in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I think there's also a
minute.
drafting style or a drafting thing from 2K, and I can
Oh, that would-
tell me who to pick
30
for.
seconds, honestly. It doesn't need to be too long.
Do we want to draft the whole team, or do you just want to draft your starting five?
We'll do starters and put stamina all the way up.
Yeah.
Starters only?
Yeah, no subs.
Yeah. That would take way too long.
Okay. Any players you don't want to have involved at all? Can we force retire LeBron James?
Well, I mean, he's not
Wait.
No,
Are
just
you taking start? So how is it going to work? I guess we're going to make the playoffs just because we're the division leader, but we're probably going to struggle against everybody.
Well, that's the question.
I mean,
The
there's some
best
pretty good bench players.
with the best bench team, like
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's the math, right? But we're
Right.
going to end up with some bad players though because it's a draft, right?
maybe.
This will be fun. I know. We'll see.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you were Thomas
Yeah.
Dimitroff, you would do a great job.
You would. You would manage that cap really well too.
Any other big rules that we want? Snake style, 30-second clocks.
I think we need to set it in the 1980s so Micah will participate.
Hey, my team would definitely win then. Muscle, physical. We play hard.
No 3-point line.
You know, it makes me think about when people are like, oh man, Julio Jones wouldn't be shit back in the old day NFL. Cornerbacks used to be able to kick wide receivers in the nuts. Julio Jones would jump over the cornerbacks in 1990, 1975. It doesn't matter. He's a freak. He's an absolute freak. The reason they changed the rules is because they would kill each other.
Yeah.
Same thing with the NBA. LeBron James is the best of all time. Did you see that stat that it was like LeBron James has done all the stuff that he's done in the last couple of years without having a teammate average more than 12 points per game? And
Whose fault is that? I thought he was supposed to make them better.
That hasn't happened to a player since like Jerry West.
I just thought that one stat was funny because it was like, what did it say? He all the minutes he had more, and it's like a Magic Johnson on steroids, but that's literally the case. So that was a funny stat.
Find me another superstar where they made a super team just to take him down.
2 super teams.
Well, there were a few. Phoenix Suns.
Okay.
I mean, you can't use the super team thing. There have been super teams all throughout history.
Yeah.
Right, but I think like the difference is that the super team.
And LeBron is a GM, so you can't like it's unprecedented to say that we had to put together a team to take down the team that this guy made.
Wait a minute. I was
Are
watching.
you comparing the LeBron James, J.R. Smith, Kyle Korver, Kevin Love Cavs to Klay Thompson?
Okay, wait, stop. Because LeBron got rid of half the players on that team just so he could leave. So that team was struggling.
Andrew Wiggins never got to be a Cav because LeBron was just like, no, I want Kevin Love.
I think he made the right choice.
That year,
LeBron made the right choice.
Yeah, but I mean, what? How many other players have that kind of flex? Hey, I don't want to play with this guy. Trade him and get me Kevin Love.
They had D Wade, Derrick Rose, and Isaiah Thomas on the same team.
Yeah, when they were all 40.
The depth they needed. He traded away everything for nothing. He got
Yeah,
Rodney
and they still had to make a super team.
He had Rodney Hood. He got Rodney Hood back.
So LeBron comes out, and in the biggest big dick energy move in NBA history, he gets rid of all of the good players on his team except Kevin Love, right?
So he can go to LA and
he brings
did
it.
so
Wait,
he
wait,
would lose.
and he
So
brings
would
in
get
all of his.
swept.
He brings in all of his friends, right? He wins a chip against one of the most stacked teams in history, and then because he brings a championship to his home state, and then because the owner is such a dick, he leaves, ruining that owner's chances of making it to the playoffs.
He didn't bring in all of his friends because Carmelo's one of his closest friends, and he was just like, "No, I don't want him."
There's
That
no
was
saving
Carmelo's
Carmelo,
doing.
Anthony.
Carmelo could have came, but he made bad decisions.
No. But that last year they had opportunity to trade for Carmelo. He was just like, "No, I don't want that trade."
Another reason why LeBron's the GOAT, okay?
Hey, that's even 2 rings because that first year back, Kevin Love, shoulder ripped out of its socket. Kyrie bashes his knee. Now your second option is Josh. You thought Tebow was going to be the Steph Curry stopper? What?
Steph Curry's ankle like exploded too.
Well, like we were saying last time, the same thing happened to LeBron. The same thing happened to Steph Curry last year. So they're,
Yeah, last
they're
year
even on that.
after Durant left, after the team went whining at him because they couldn't finish the job.
Do you guys remember when LeBron made the finals?
Yes.
Before he went to Miami?
And got swept by the Spurs.
Right, but he had got swept by the great
Larry Hughes, Antoine Jameson.
Yeah, had nobody.
Nah, he had Anton Jameson wasn't on that team.
He wasn't on that one. It was Larry Hughes, Daniel. The dude with the hair. What's the dude with the hair? Verjao,
yeah.
That was a weak East, and he got swept up.
Yeah, the East was insanely weak.
But LeBron won a championship on the NBA version of the New York Jets.
The Cavs?
Wait, what? He won one or went to one?
He won one. He left. He came back to an organization that has been poorly managed and poorly run. He won a chip on the NBA version of the New York Jets. He's the greatest of all time.
Wasn't that the year they destroyed us in the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yeah, and Ryan and I were at that playoff game, and we were just like,
where J.R. Smith was the difference maker, and he went off for like 40 every game.
He could not be stopped.
We're like, where did this J.R. Smith come from?
And then you never saw him again.
Turn around fadeaways.
J.R. Smith's trying to play pickup basketball right now.
Not to mention Kyrie goes for what 40 a game for like every game they won.
Was that
the way the MJ did the Knicks is the way LeBron did us and the Raptors?
Yeah,
we're just not winning.
And my favorite part about that whole game though was me and Ryan leaving the stadium and me trying to pick fights with Cleveland fans, just be like, "Oh,
Cleveland's the worst city ever."
Nobody likes Ohio. You're from Marietta.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. What's your shitty superpower? This is another part. I like. We talked about when we were doing this podcast. We don't want to just be sports focused all the time, and so I think this will lead into my big topic for next week. So I've got this idea in my head, right? That everybody says superpowers don't exist, right?
Okay.
But how many people do you think maybe might have had the ability to fly, but they're not going to jump off a fucking building to find out, right? Peter Parker found out because he was a nerd and he was getting bullied. You know what I'm saying? He was just like, "Oh, I'm stuck to the wall. Puberty." Right?
Right.
If you never try to have these superpowers, how do you know if you have them? So, and then I was also thinking, what counts as a superpower? So I've got a couple shitty superpowers, but one of them is that when I'm waiting for a subway train, and the train's coming by, this happens all the time at the Decatur MARTA station, right? So I'll walk in, I'll go down the escalator, I'll be sitting on those benches. It kind of smells like pee. Everybody's sitting really far away from each other. The white people look really scared. But also they're like, "I'm riding MARTA," and I'm on the other hand on my way down to the bends, So I'm chilling there, whatever. the train comes in. I get up while the train is moving and walk towards the train and stop on the platform, right? I will be within maybe a foot on either side of a door every single time. And I bring this up because I said this to Jess, right? And this is my wife, Jessica, for people who don't know me, remembering that we have an audience. I told her this and she's like, yeah, whatever, dude. And then I did it with her in Boston, New York, Chicago, every single time. And I was just like, this is my shitty superpower, right?
I tried to do that.
It doesn't do anything, but like it's better than normal humans, so I'm a superhuman. What is your shitty superpower? Simon, you're our guest.
Remembering dialogue.
That's pretty good. Mike,
That's not shitty at all.
Not that well, it's not that practical. It's not that practical. I just things people may have said, things I may have heard in a TV show or a movie.
For how long can you remember these things? Are you like a steel trap and you just never forget them?
It depends. Like I might have to have my memory jogged, but it might start coming back. But I used to watch Simpsons episode. This is only about 2004. I used to be able to watch a Simpsons episode for 5 seconds, no more than 5 seconds, and I could tell which episode was on.
that's pretty good.
But yeah, no, it's just kind of easier to remember what folks say, file it away.
That's way more useful than mine. Marco, what's your shitty superpower?
I was gonna say something really cool because I initially thought the question was like, "What's the superpower I want to have?"
Yeah, same.
But that was gonna be slowing things down so I could play all sports. But my shitty superpower is anytime I eat, I can always keep one hand clean. I only eat with one hand, so if anything
impressive.
ever pops off, I'm always ready with the clean hand.
Like,
You smack you with my dirty hand because I got one clean one.
Micah, what's your shitty superpower, bro?
Ooh, I got Hulk hands.
I've witnessed this in person.
I have the ability to crush things and to accidentally rip security door handles off the frame, and while bending the frame on accident. Just...
Nice.
Yeah, Micah destroyed a door at my wife's office building after a Falcons game.
Yes, Falcons Steelers.
Yep. And we walked in and we were like the door was to the elevator lobby was locked. And I was like, oh man, it's locked. And Mike is like, oh, let me try. And he like grabs it and then like looks like he's doing nothing at all, rips the exterior handle off, bends the steel door, and then the interior handle's like so we like
blame it on a Steeler fan also.
we were on camera. We were parking there for free. My wife works for the management company of the building.
Oh.
And then everybody like runs, like they're gonna like escape.
We cannot run these cameras.
Thankfully for Micah, we managed to blame it on the door manufacturer. But it was a moment. Dollar,
What type of security door is this?
Like it didn't perform up to spec. I was like, or Micah is freakishly strong. Dollar.
I have, I guess, 2. I can tell you the amount of time almost within 5 to 10 seconds every time that it's passed. I can, if I'm laying in bed, I'm like, oh, it's been about 16 minutes. Or I can lay down in a car, eyes closed, and tell you exactly where we are on the road at all times, just by feeling the curves in the road and all that type of stuff. I've been able to do it since I was very little. My mom did not understand. I still don't understand how I do it.
Have you used it to rob a bank or anything?
If I have, you wouldn't know.
like Chronicles of Riddick. 29.2 kilometers.
All right. Chronicles of Riddick.
I forgot about that. Oh, that's such a bad.
Chronicles of Riddick was an underrated movie, okay?
Okay.
Judi Dench was in that shit. So was Carl Urban with like a dreadlock mohawk. All right, lightning round. We're not going to do the takes a leap. I've got a better lightning round question. Okay, so a couple years ago, the Gwinnett Braves renamed their franchise to the Gwinnett Stripers. They held like a whole like online contest for like what should we name it, and then they did listen to the thing that won the poll. So it's stripers like striped bass. The reason they did that is because they said that people were getting confused with the Atlanta Braves and they would show up at the wrong game. Now, I am of the opinion that they did this to increase merchandise sales, right? Because now we all got to buy new hats. But also because there are some really fantastic minor league baseball team names that are out there. Just for example, the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
What?
This is an actual team. They play in Alabama. The Montgomery Biscuits.
I heard of that one.
The Macon Whoopie.
Yep.
Oh,
Time for whoopee.
Yep. The Chattanooga Lookouts. There's one that's the Jumbo Shrimp. There's some really, really good minor league baseball team names.
There's the former Savannah Sand Gnats.
I mean, there's been the Florida Fire Frogs. There's been a bunch. So I thought that, all the major Atlanta teams, they've got like bird names, it's really boring. So I want you to rename one of the major Atlanta sports. What would you name it to stand out the most? I'm going to give you 30 seconds to think of your answer.
Dang.
Right?
It's harder because you didn't pick a sport. So it's like rename this team.
they have to be good. Or
No.
they can just okay.
Just rename a major Atlanta sports team.
I got one.
All right, Simon, hit it.
The Braves to Machetes.
Atlanta Machetes.
Okay. $1.
All right, so I'm gonna take a shot at this all here. I'm gonna rename the Falcons to the Quarters, or 25 cents, or based around 25. Yeah. Y'all let us think, you'll think.
That was nice. Micah.
I'm gonna rename the Falcons the shit. No, come back to me. I lost the train of thought.
Mako.
So I'm gonna either go with the I thought they should have named them this, but it doesn't necessarily ring that well. But the 285ers or the 85ers.
Micah.
Falcons, Atlanta Shortcomers.
Oh,
I'm going to rename the Hawks. In the long history of poorly thought out corporate sponsorship deals, for instance, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium instead of the Home Depot Stadium, right? Or Truist Park.
Oh God.
God.
I'm going to rename the Atlanta Hawks the Atlanta Pepsi Colas and have their main sponsor be that. It's a really excellent chance at brand synergy. And as you know, Pepsi Cola is the official cola of the NFL. And so, the G League team would be the Sierra Mists. We really see a chance to expand our hold in the Atlanta market. So that's sort of where I'm at with that. Man, I'm trying to figure out.
Would they burn it down?
I'm trying to figure out how Coca-Cola wasn't the shirt sponsor for Atlanta United. Like, you got American Family Insurance.
yeah.
You've already got the colors. Like the caffeine-free Coke is already gold and red, my man. Like
Missed opportunities.
Arthur.
They paid more. They
Right.
paid.
You have to have scruples, Simon. Our stadium is named after the same car company as the Saints. Do you know how disgusting that is to me?
And so much. It doesn't change the fact that they wanted to bring a Mercedes-Benz plant to wherever the fuck it was in Georgia.
I don't give a shit about Mercedes-Benz. Germans, they suck. All right. Any
They're
final
worse than
thoughts?
Ohioans.
If you're watching and you're German, we're sorry.
I'm not. Julian Gressel, though. My man. Any final thoughts, any words of wisdom, gents, before we all go?
I want to talk about these pitches.
Oh, right.
Oh yeah, the pitches.
Okay.
I revised my
All
list.
right, we've got two more things. Might be okay. Let's do the pitches. Best pitch in Braves history or ever. Ryan,
No,
you
I was stuck. It was so. This was inspired by Bleacher Report put out an article the other day or today, and it was the top 10 most lethal pitches in Major League Sports today. And they put out like Garrett Cole's two-seamer, and they put out some other guy's curveball. So in that light, and so what I challenged everyone to do is to give me their top 5 pitches just in the time they've been watching baseball. And I can kind of lead us off here in the vein of baseball. So, I mean, I've been watching for 25, 30 years almost. I'm going to go with Barry Zito's curveball. I've never seen a more disgusting 12-6 curveball in my life. That thing would drop from foreheads to ankles. And probably my favorite pitch of all time, and I could never throw it. It was Pedro Martinez's circle change. I don't know how many times he would get swing and misses on that thing. It was disgusting. And to say one of your best pitches is a changeup and you're the best pitcher in the league is gross. Randy Johnson's slider, especially pitching to lefties. I can't count on 2 hands or hands and toes, how many times I've seen lefties jump out the box for called strikes with that curveball, because he being 6'11", having that 3/4 release and releasing behind someone's head, and that pitch coming in and moving probably 7 was gross. Roger Clemens' split finger, he would break bat after bat after bat after bat with that thing. And then, of course, probably the best pitch in all of baseball ever, just because of how effective it was. And the fact that this man only really had 2 pitches. And that was Mariano Rivera's cutter.
Oh, Manny.
Yeah.
All right, I've got one. Craig Kimbrell's fastball.
Yeah.
There's like when that man was on, like at the height of his powers, like he was unhittable. I would be terrified to go up and like I would be like, I got a cramp. Like I couldn't do it, man. That man was slinging like perfect placement, just like.
Think about how many times he shook off all other pitchers. Like, nope, I'm bringing gas. It's gonna be a fastball. It's gonna be 103. Good luck.
Right. It's just the only other time that I've seen dominance like that, as far as like a single pitch and just pure physicality, was probably Kerry Wood, his rookie season or the next year. That he blew his shoulder, but he could sling it, man. That was a hell of a fastball.
Sorry to jump in real quick. Could you imagine if Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood would have stayed healthy?
Yeah, I can't imagine it because I imagined it every day as a Cubs fan for decades.
And Zambrano.
The one that I remember the most is Mark Wohlers' fastball, mainly because when he was good, unhittable. And I remember hearing him warm up, and it was just loud.
Wow. Yeah, he would pop that level.
He had a personal crisis. Couldn't focus, and I remember because he threw it everywhere except the strike zone.
I'll just go at Randy's fastball, Greg Maddox circle change. I had Rivera's cutter, the knuckleball. I had to get a knuckleball in there. So all right, Dickie.
Wakefield.
Dickie and
John Smoltz with the splitter.
Yes.
Can we just take a second to appreciate Manny Rivera? I don't think I know he just retired, but I don't think that man gets enough love. Golly.
I want to hear it, Micah.
All right. 5, that Barry Zito 12-6 curveball. 4, Randy Johnson slider. 3, John Smoltz slider.
Yeah.
2, Pedro's knuckle curve.
Yeah, that knuckle curve is gross.
And number 1, my favorite pitch of all time, Greg Maddox's 2-seam fastball. He would throw it right at a lefty, and it would just right back over the plate at the last second. Almost
that late movement on that thing was so pretty.
So, and I mean, it was like I used to want to throw it, but I couldn't come close to getting that movement on it. It's like, So, but yeah, that was Greg Maddox was just nasty, and to do it all while throwing like under 86 is ridiculous.
That Braves pitching staff might go down as, I think, the most complete and the best, like, overall pitching staff ever. Like,
three of them are in the top 10.
yeah. Do you remember when John Smoltz hit a home run in like the 7th inning to win a computer in like the 90s? And they were like, "Hey, John, you won a computer," and he's like, "What?"
No, I don't remember that.
Go watch this video. It's fantastic. All right.
Hold on.
I was at the game where Tom Glavine hit his only home run ever.
I think Smolty going from like a dominant, filthy starter to being like an incredible closer, you know, like,
And then went back to being a starter for a while.
it's just, that staff they were scary, man, spooky. And of course, they had to run up against the Yankees. It's sort of like the Falcons running up against the Patriots. You know what I mean? Like,
God, I
Were
mean,
the Yankees even all that during that first one?
yeah, the Yankees.
Were we favored?
They,
Kind of in the World Series?
yeah,
89.
I think we were.
Like, how many of the ones that we lost were we favored in?
96 definitely.
one where they need to
All
save
of them.
later.
Maybe not 99. I don't know if we were favored in 99. I know in 96 and 97, I think we were because we had been like 3 years in a row.
97. 97 was the Eric Gregg game
Yeah.
against the Marlins.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was, what was that? So I know 96 because Andrew Jones was a rookie, and he balled out.
Yeah,
But we wound
Then
up
it fell
losing
apart.
because Jim Leyritz hit the home run off of Mark Wohlers.
Yeah.
I know 99 was the other one. So
Still better than the Bills,
yeah.
One is all that matters.
right?
I can't find this video, Lionel.
I'll send it to you. All right. So to close this out, we're going to talk about some food really quick. I don't know if you've heard of this place. The Atlanta restaurant, the Blaxican, is also a food truck and catering company. They have a physical location in Norcross. It's a Mexican soul food. The guy who runs it is half black and half Mexican, and like, it's fantastic. Well, unfortunately, his physical store location in Norcross is closed permanently. When Brian Kemp said, "Hey, all restaurants can open," right? You know, you don't get any like insurance protections or anything like that anymore. Well, the owner went and, hit most of his business, most of his income's from business lunches in the area, and none of the businesses in the area are open. So the food truck's still going to be a thing. Watch out for it. Grab it if you can, everybody. But I'm sad that the physical location, because like, I have a thing against food trucks. Usually, I think they're overrated. I like food better when it's like in a restaurant or in my kitchen. That's for another episode. So what is your favorite closed permanently Atlanta restaurant? What's the one that like sticks in your heart? I'm gonna start with Simon because put him on the spot.
Oh man, hard to say. I mean,
It's that Cheshire Bridge Varsity that closed, and now that's like a Chase Bank.
man, forget that grease trap.
What?
Okay, let's.
Nope. Marco.
Permanently closed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with like what was that one restaurant like what's that one? It was like an Australian restaurant. I forget what it was called. This was like back in the 2000s.
Australian cuisine?
Yeah, it had like a whole theme of the Outback.
Was it just
No.
spiders?
Outback?
No, it wasn't Outback. That's still here. This one's gone. But yeah, Nikki would know it, but that's my sister.
She's not in this podcast. You're fired. Dollar?
Vini Vidi Vici, the Italian restaurant downtown. Y'all never got a chance to eat it.
You remember?
It was high end, but
You remember Italian Oven?
yes. Oh my God. Actually, I take it back. That.
Okay, yeah, that's a good choice. There also used to be a pizza place right by the Brookhaven Mars station. I'm having a hard time remembering what it was called because it's been a couple years, but they were pretty good.
There was
There's a Mellow over there.
melon mushrooms right across the corner.
It's kind of like it's on the other side. It's on the other side of the what's it called? Peachtree. It's on the other side of Peachtree.
Marco, say Graveyard Tavern, okay? We're just gonna make that your choice.
All right.
Wait, isn't that still open?
Micah, hit me.
I
know you got
Pie in the Sky. Really
Right
good pizza joint in Roswell. Closed for good. So
R.I.P. in peace. To all our favorites. All right, any words of wisdom, gents?
Micah, take us away.
You always got something.
Yeah, give me some country wisdom, Micah. You know you got some in that back pocket. of yours.
country wisdom. Jordan is the GOAT.
Oh man! All right. Thank you for watching and listening, subscribing, rating. If anybody's doing any of those things, we really appreciate it. Join us next week, same bat time, same bat channel. We will discuss the worst possible Justice League, the return of Major League Baseball, and probably harassing Micah about something or another.
Quarterback salaries.
Quarterback salaries is a good one. I just saw an excellent tweet about that. So
lose
circle
every
back
time.
around. Special thanks to Simon, our guest panelist. Thank you, Simon. You came in with absolutely no prep. You did a great job. Many thanks to my friends here on our panel. Quick shout out to my boy Carl Nyberg and his company Sway Sauce. That's at SWAYY_sauce. Homemade Atlanta-based hot sauce, wing sauce, barbecue sauce. This shit's amazing. We are brought to you today by my ever-present sense of depression. Our theme music is by Vatilas. It's Juan Solano. Find him on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, probably Vivo. What's that one that Zack Snyder runs? He's got his own. You'll find it. He's on there.
If you
What?
gotta have the name recognition, you know? Like, I was gonna say, I was trying to look it up, but it's like, man, if you have to like hesitate and say, look it up, that's kind of a problem.
You didn't do a good job of branding.
Listen, dude, all I know is that Zack Snyder did like a live watch with Batman versus Superman on that mess, and he like had like a live stream with people on it, and he was like, this is how I would do Justice League. It was the whole thing. Today's episode is also brought to you by all of Antonio Cromartie's kids. My name is Lionel. This has been the Fishing Grittens podcast. See you next time. Peace.
Amigos are 3 people, not 1.